Okay, so are you ready to dive into something really interesting today?
Absolutely.
We're talking about blind professionals.
Okay.
But not just, people who are just getting by. We're talking about people who are at the top of their game,
Yeah.
crushing it in corporate America.
Really, really cool.
And we're basing this deep dive on some awesome research by this guy, Dr. Kirk Adams.
Oh, wow.
He did his PhD on this and followed 11 amazing stories of success.
Yeah, and you know what's so interesting about this is that you so often hear that statistic.
Oh.
The one.
70%.
A shocking 70% unemployment rate for blind adults.
It's crazy, right?
It's been that way for decades.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, what's going on there? What's the missing piece?
Right. And that's exactly what makes these 11 individuals so fascinating.
Yeah.
They're totally changing the narrative.
Yeah, it's you hear that statistic and you think, okay, well, that's the norm. But then you meet these 11 people and it's boom, a door swings open.
Yeah.
And there's this whole other reality.
It's amazing.
Where talent and drive and the right support
Yeah.
can lead to some incredible things.
And it's not just one type of person either.
Yeah, for sure.
We're talking men and women, different careers, tech, finance, law, you name it.
Really running the gamut.
And they're not all coming from privilege either.
Right.
Some of them had to overcome some serious challenges early on.
That makes it even more impressive.
It really does.
It's not like a silver spoon kind of success story, you know?
Exactly. This is about resilience and determination.
It's inspiring stuff.
It is really inspiring.
So let's dig into this and see what we can learn.
Let's do it.
I'm really curious about what set these individuals up for success. What were those early influences that played a role?
Yeah, it's fascinating how much those early experiences really shape us.
Totally.
Supportive families were definitely a common thread.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it wasn't just about love and encouragement. It went deeper than that.
Oh, how so?
These families had high expectations for their kids.
Interesting.
They truly believed that their children could achieve anything.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
It reminds me of this one story from the research.
Oh, yeah.
This one participant talked about how his parents treated him no differently from his sighted brothers.
Wow.
Even when it came to chores around the house.
Wow.
Yeah, they were you're part of this family. You contribute just like everyone else.
That's huge.
Right.
Saying that message from a young age.
Exactly. It's they were saying, we believe in you. You've got this.
And they weren't just saying it, they were demonstrating it.
Yeah, through their actions.
Powerful stuff.
It really is. But, it wasn't just about family.
Right.
Finding your tribe was also super important.
Absolutely. Those peers and mentors who really get you.
Yes. Having that support system can make all the difference.
One participant talked about how connecting with a blind grad student turned into this amazing mentorship. It was all about tech. And it totally changed his career trajectory.
It's like they say, you can't be what you can't see.
Exactly. Having those role models, especially in a field where you might not see a lot of people like yourself.
Right. It can be a game changer.
And it's interesting. It wasn't always about finding disability-specific groups either.
Oh, really?
Some found their people through things like choir or sports. These are just shared interests.
That's so cool. It just goes to show you the power of finding your community.
Exactly, whatever that looks like for you.
It's about those connections you make.
Having people who share your passions, who challenge you to grow, and who believe in you even when you doubt yourself.
That's what it's all about. And, sometimes the most unexpected events can turn into these pivotal moments.
Oh, tell me more about that.
So get this. One of the participants was telling this story about how he fell down a flight of stairs.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It was because of some construction. And he's like, I'm blind, so
right.
It was just a bad situation. But the crazy thing is, it led him to this amazing blindness orientation center.
Wow.
Yeah. And it totally changed his life.
Talk about turning a negative into a positive.
I know, right?
It's amazing how resilience can be forged in those challenging moments.
It's what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Exactly. And in this case, it wasn't just about learning practical skills. It was about shifting his whole perspective.
Oh, how so?
It was okay, this happened, but I'm not going to let it define me.
Right.
I'm going to find a new way forward.
One thing that really struck me was how these individuals define success.
Oh, yeah. How so?
It wasn't just about, climbing the corporate ladder or making a ton of money.
Yeah, it went way beyond that.
They talked about finding real purpose in their careers.
It's like that sense of fulfillment,
Exactly. It was about making a difference and feeling like their work had meaning.
Absolutely. And you hit on something really important there.
What's that?
These individuals weren't hired in spite of their blindness.
Right.
They were hired for their abilities.
Because they had the skills and the talents to excel.
Exactly. And in many cases, their blindness actually gave them unique advantages.
That's interesting. Tell me more about that.
Well, think about it using screen readers constantly.
Yeah.
It turns you into a tech whiz almost by default.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And because they often have to explain things clearly, their communication skills are top-notch.
Right. It's like they've had to develop those skills out of necessity.
Precisely. And don't forget about their other senses.
Oh, yeah. They're often heightened.
Exactly. Which can give them an edge in problem solving and spatial awareness.
That's amazing. It's like their so-called disability became a superpower.
In a way, yeah, it's all about perspective.
And having the right environment to thrive in.
That's crucial. We're talking about inclusive cultures where differences are valued.
Companies that see the potential, not the limitations.
Exactly. And Dr. Adams' research highlights some great examples of this.
Oh, like what?
Companies with strong internal support systems, proactive accommodations, and leaders who champion inclusion at every level.
That's awesome. It sounds like those companies are really walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Right. But, there's also this one story of a participant who thrived even without that formal support.
Oh, really? How did he do it?
He was a real go-getter, relied on his personal network, became a fierce self-advocate.
Wow. That's inspiring.
It really is. It shows that where there's a will, there's a way.
Which speaks volumes about the power of agency, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. That belief in your own ability to shape your destiny.
To not be defined by limitations.
Exactly. And that's a message that resonates with everyone.
It's about taking control of your own life.
And pushing past those perceived barriers. But, it's also important to acknowledge...
What's that?
That even with all the resilience and determination in the world, disappointments and barriers still exist.
That's true.
Dr. Adams' research doesn't shy away from that.
And it's important to keep it real.
It is. He talks about the emotional toll of inaccessible tech social exclusion, the constant need to self-advocate.
It's a reminder that while we celebrate these individual triumphs, systemic change is still so necessary.
Absolutely. We've got to keep pushing for a more inclusive world.
A world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Exactly. And I think that's a good place to wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah, it's been a really eye-opening conversation.
It has. And I hope it's inspired our listeners to think differently about blindness and about success.
Me too, because ultimately it's about recognizing the potential that exists within every single one of us.
And creating a world where everyone has the chance to shine.
Couldn't have said it better myself.